So have you ever been playing in a concert and you get to the concert hall and then you realise you've forgotten your instrument? I have. Hi everybody, I hope you're well. My name is Laura from Allegro Conspirator, and today I'm going to be talking about embarrassing and stupid things that I have done during performances. As musicians, we all make stupid mistakes sometimes, and sometimes things happen that are not in our control, and I just thought I'd share some of my stories, as some of them I think are quite funny, so yeah. So going back to what I said at the beginning, I had a concert. This was when I was about 16 or 17, so I wasn't at university. I think I was doing my A-levels if I remember correctly. Thankfully it wasn't my A-level performance or anything, it was just a one-off sort of casual concert for the music students in the school and stuff. And I went home, had a shower, got changed, was psyching myself out for it, because you really have to like psych yourself out for concerts and things, or I do anyway, I don't know about you guys. Anyway, so I go back to school and everyone's there, my parents, even like my nan and granddad, both of them, and a couple of people, my friends and everything. And I'm just about to get ready to warm up and I realise I've forgotten my recorder. Of all the things to forget, like at least I wasn't going to an airport or something, and thankfully I lived quite close to my school, so I was able to run back home, grab my recorder and come back, but I did lose about 20 minutes of practice time before the concert. Okay, so another thing that happened to me, this was fairly recent, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago now. I was performing in a huge event that was going on outside. We had different like local bands and singers and things on throughout the day, and it was outside in a field. And it was a really, really hot summer's day. It was like the middle of June or July or something, I can't remember exactly now. And as I was performing, the PA system caught fire. So I was on sort of during the middle of the day, during the afternoon or something, and then it had obviously overheated where it was a really hot day. I think we were sort of on the tail end of a heat wave or in the middle of a heat wave, I think. But so I was just up there, you know, singing, you know, as you do, and I'm like, what is that smell that's burning? And I turned around and realised the PA's on fire. I honestly thought for a moment I might be at a Rammstein concert and we had pyrotechnics. So obviously what happened was we had to stop the concert, they called a fire brigade, obviously, because it was an electrical fire. So they managed to put it out, but that was kind of it for the day because no one had a backup PA system on them anywhere. I've also completely lost count of the amount of times I have fallen over or tripped up steps on my way to stuff. Usually happens. At least sort of 1 in 4 things that I do, I will trip over. I am so damn clumsy. So the worst thing that happened during my A-level time, it was my second year of A-level, and I was playing originally a flute piece called Density 21.5 by the composer Fares. And I just wanted to play it on recorder because I like a challenge, and it's very much experimental, and I like, as much as I love the Baroque and early music, I love sort of experimental and just crazy contemporary pieces as well. Anyway, I'll be doing a video on it at some point, but on recorder we have things called knee notes. I will prove an example. So here is my alto recorder. So to play a top G, it's easy, just and a top F. But if you want the F sharp or the G flat in between, it's the same fingering as a top G, but you literally, I don't know if I'm going to get my knee up high enough, you have to put it on your knee. I'm going to fall over, no, too clumsy. Anyway, because this Density 21.5 was a flute piece, I had about 4 or 5 knee notes in it. Even though knee notes are a thing, you don't often find them in music written specifically for recorder because they're a bit of a pain in the bum, let's face it. Anyway, one of these was quite quick. And you can imagine what's going to happen, I expect. So I had my guitar footstool with me, because I used to do classical guitar as well, so that my foot was up a little bit, so I didn't have to go so far. Anyway, I still ended up coming up too fast and too far and smacking myself in the teeth with my recorder. I've also lost count of the amount of times I have turned up to places with my guitar, not my classical guitar because you play that with your fingers, but either my acoustic, electroacoustic, my electric. Bass I play with my fingers as well, but not so often now. But no, I've turned up somewhere with either my acoustic, my electroacoustic steel strings, or my electric guitar, and I don't have a bloody plectrum. I must have over 100 plectrums. I'm finding them everywhere all the time. All I have to do is like move something and they just crawl out, like 50 of them. And there was one time, it was when I was at school, I believe I was year 10 or something, we were playing a gig in our little band just in school, as you do, you know, and I didn't have a plectrum, and no one had a plectrum, so I had to use a 10p piece, and it sounded horrendous. I've also lost count the amount of times I've dropped my instrument. Actually, since I've had my very expensive cherrywood Takayama recorder, thankfully I have not dropped that yet, but my plastic ones I have dropped a couple of times, where I used to get very severe performance anxiety, whereas I still get performance anxiety now, but it's not so bad. But I get the shakes and my hands start sweating like awfully, so it was just going Okay, so probably the worst thing to happen to me, in my opinion, the worst thing to happen to me. So we have this music festival that goes on every year in our local community. They have both a child and a senior section for adults as well. I usually take part every year for recorder and occasionally guitar. I especially did guitar when I was younger. I've now just started doing the piano part of it from last year, and also sometimes I do the vocals part. So this must have been when I was about 15 or 16, because I wasn't far off my grade 8 classical guitar. Anyway, I'm taking part in this festival. It would have been like the 16 and under advanced class or something. So basically this festival is like a competition for competitive performing and competitive playing. It is friendly competition, I should put it. It's not completely like competitive. It's not like something you would get at the Royal Academy. But it's still a bit of a thing. If you win your category, you have a chance to win trophies and a chance to play in the gala concert, which happens right at the end of everything, of all the classes. Anyway, this was one of the classical guitar classes. I had decided to play a piece called Rondo Rodeo by a composer called Gary Ryan. If you don't know the piece, I would look it up because it is absolutely amazing, and it is around, I think it was on the grade 8 syllabus one year, but before I got there, but I loved it so much I really wanted to learn it. So the worst thing was, it was about a month before the festival. I'd had my heart set on playing this Rondo Rodeo piece by Gary Ryan, and then we find out that the adjudicator for our class is Gary Ryan. And I was like, I'm not playing the Gary Ryan in front of Gary Ryan. My teacher was like, no, like the best person to play it to is the composer. So I'm like, well, you know, I've spent all this time, I literally spent about 6 to 7 months learning this piece and getting it to the standard that was needed for this festival. And I was like, I'm not going to wait till next year, I really want to play it. I'm just going to play it and hope he likes my interpretation of it. So anyway, we go there. I think I was the second person and last person, there wasn't many people in my class at all. And then, you know, I announce, hi, I'm Laura, I'm so-and-so student, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to be playing Rondo Rodeo by Gary Ryan. And everyone just kind of looked like, oh no. And I'm like, oh no, have I done something wrong? But that wasn't even the worst part, oh no. So where it's a rondo, you have section A, section B, section A, section C, A, D, A, E. You get it. The A section is wonderful and not so difficult. I think it's the C section that's all chords, basically, and it's all chords sort of going up and down the guitar. So I was like really into it by this point. I'm like, yeah, because I absolutely love this piece. And then my B string snapped. Mid-performance of a piece I was playing to the composer in a competitive competition, and one of my strings snaps on me. And I don't know if that's ever happened to you. I'm sure if you're a violinist or a cellist or a viola player or anything like that, a string player basically, if it happens to you while you're playing, it bloody hurts. Thankfully I didn't cut my finger or anything because it was one of the nylon strings, not one of the copper ones. So basically I had to stop playing because it's one of those pieces where you just can't get away with not having a string. It had happened to me once before, years before that, and it was one of those pieces I could just about get away with not having that string, so I was able to carry on. So obviously I apologised. I was like, do you mind if I take 5 minutes just to go and change my string? Because after the first incident, I always made sure I had a spare set of strings on me in case stuff like this happened. So anyway, it literally only takes me like 3 to 5 minutes, if that, to change a guitar string, so I quickly changed it and everything, and thankfully there was enough time for me to start again and play it again, and this time none of my strings broke and I played it perfectly. And thankfully he liked my interpretation and I won my class, so yeah. These are all like really old things or things that happened to me years ago. I would say the most recent thing that happened to me, which was maybe a year to 18 months ago now, I was sessioning for a band on the keyboard. So basically I do some sort of work where they phone me up, like, we need a keyboard player for this one gig or something, and I go do it. So we had a couple of rehearsals beforehand and everything, but on the day of the gig I was so into this one song that we were doing that I went to do a glissando, which is when you go and everything, which was fine and would have been fine if I wasn't wearing a metal bangle. as I was doing the glissando, because I was on an electronic keyboard and not like a digital piano or a piano or anything, my wire bangle got caught in one of the keys and ended up twisting around my wrist so badly it cut it. Now, because I am metal as hell, I carried on with the concert. We did only have about 3 songs left, but there was blood going all down my arm and all over the keyboard and everything. It was horrible to clean up afterwards, and afterwards I had to go to hospital to get it bandaged up because it just would not stop bleeding. So anyway, that's it from me today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had a laugh with me. If you've got any stories that you want to tell me, pop them down in the comments and I will reply to as many as I can. I'll probably think of a few more at some point, but they're the ones that just come to my head at the moment. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please leave me a like, it does help me out a lot. And please subscribe for future music content from me. I do classical, rock, pop and metal music. And I also do a lot of tutorials and educational videos, as well as discussions and a few random bits and performances. Anyway, take care and have a good day. Bye!